ice cream. I mean, we all know it, right? We all love it. It's that simple, happy dessert you grab on a summer day. But what if I told you its story is, well, anything but simple? Because this treat you know so well has a secret history, one packed with emperors, spies, and some pretty incredible science that's going to completely change how you see it. So yeah, we're going to peel back the lid on a story that connects ancient engineering to modern neuroscience. The history of ice cream, it turns out, is really the history of human ingenuity, power, and even the hidden ways our own brains work. All right, so our story kicks off thousands of years ago. We're talking about a time when a frozen treat wasn't about a quick, simple pleasure. No, it was a powerful symbol of status and absolute control. I mean, think about it. Over 4,000 years ago in China, only the royals could even get their hands on a frozen dessert. Why? Because just keeping ice from melting was a huge, expensive deal. Then you have ancient Persia, where they created something called sharbet, kind of a forerunner to sorbet. Even Alexander the Great was in on it, rewarding his armies after a battle with snow flavored with honey. This wasn't a snack. This was a luxury reserved for the most powerful people on the entire planet. But you've got to be wondering, how did they pull this off in scorching hot climates? Well, the secret was this incredible piece of tech called the yacho. This was basically an ancient Persian refrigerator, an engineering marvel that could actually make and store ice in the middle of the desert. It used these brilliant evaporative cooling principles. This wasn't magic, it was seriously sophisticated engineering that we still borrow ideas from today. So for centuries, ice cream stays this closely guarded secret of the elite. But then, a massive global conflict comes along and completely changes its destiny, taking it from the king's fancy court right to the front lines of a war. And to really understand just how valuable that secret was, get this. King Charles I of England literally paid his chef a lifelong salary just to keep the ice cream recipe exclusive to the royal family. It was treated like a state secret, like military intelligence, because controlling ice, sugar, and milk back then, that meant you controlled status. And then boom, everything changes during World War II. The U.S. military decided that ice cream was a critical morale booster for the troops. So they built floating ice cream factories on naval ships, churning out thousands of liters a day for soldiers near the front lines. In a flash, it went from a royal secret to, believe it or not, a weapon of war. Now, this insane wartime demand kicked off a full-blown industrial revolution. It pushed freezing technology forward by leaps and bounds. It perfected the stabilizers and emulsifiers that, keep ice cream smooth. And it totally mastered mass production. The entire modern ice cream industry that we have today, it was basically born out of military necessity. Wild, right? So, okay, we know how ice cream got everywhere. But why do we crave it so intensely? The answer isn't just because it tastes good. The real secret is in our brain chemistry. Scientists actually have a term for foods like ice cream. They call them hyperpalatable. That's a fancy way of saying it has this perfect, almost engineered combination of fat and sugar that hits the reward center of our brain like hitting a jackpot on a slot machine. And that triggers a flood of the pleasure chemical, dopamine. Here's kind of how it works. That first spoonful sends this incredibly powerful signal. The fat, the sugar, the cold, they all work together to scream at your brain's reward system. Hey, this is amazing. Do it again. And that rush of dopamine is what creates that feeling of pure pleasure. But here's the trick. The cold temperature of ice cream actually numbs your taste buds, just a little bit. And this allows food scientists to pack in way more sugar than you'd normally find enjoyable. It tastes just right when it's frozen, but if you let it melt, that same amount of sugar becomes almost sickeningly sweet. So your brain is being gently fooled into wanting more and more. Okay, so beyond the chemistry, there's some incredible physics going on here. See, ice cream isn't just a simple solid. It's one of the most complex food structures ever engineered. Each and every spoonful is a carefully constructed experience. So a key ingredient in ice cream is actually air. It's a term in the industry called overrun, and it's just the percentage of air that gets whipped into the mix while it's freezing. Premium ice cream, the really good stuff, has less air, maybe 25%, which is why it's so dense and rich. Cheaper brands, on the other hand, can be over 50% air, which makes them lighter and fluffier. It's why 2 tubs of the exact same size can have totally different weights. You're not just buying ice cream, you're buying a specific texture that's been engineered by physics. All right, we've covered history, we've covered war, and we've covered science. But the final, and maybe the most powerful secret of ice cream, it isn't about its ingredients at all.
It's about what it represents inside our own minds.
Our brains are masters of association. I mean, over our entire lives, we link ice cream with these feelings of reward, safety, and just pure happiness. Think about it. Birthdays, holidays, hearing that ice cream truck jingle as a kid, sharing a scoop with friends. It becomes this incredibly powerful symbol of comfort.
And this brings us to the final secret, the real heart of it. When you feel that intense urge for ice cream, you're not just craving fat and sugar. Your brain is craving the feeling of safety, of celebration, of nostalgia that you've tied to it for years and years. You're not just craving a food, you're craving a memory.
So, the next time you enjoy a spoonful of ice cream, just take a second and think about its incredible journey. You're holding ancient engineering, the legacy of a world war, a feat of brain chemistry, and a powerful piece of your own personal history, all in one perfect little scoop.